And now,
from Greater Sandton and beyond, get ready for the SANDTON Times Hour
with your host,
Alexander.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond, this is the SANDTON Times Hour on Mix 93.8 and also available on all good podcast platforms. I'm Alexander Leibner, and this is edition 118 of week 24 of 2023. It's June, it's crisp, and I'm excited to be with you again this week. And if you would like to get in touch throughout the show or even afterwards to share your questions, your comments, your feedback, your thoughts, do so using the email address editor@sandtontimes.co.za or on social media at SANDTON Times on your preferred platform, or visit the website www.sandtontimes.co.za. And if you're listening live on Mix 93.8 and not delayed on the podcast, well, the WhatsApp line is open to take your thoughts and feedback. 0848220938. That's 0848220938. As always, a special welcome to everyone listening in Gauteng, Johannesburg, and Pretoria, and across South Africa, and wherever else you are in the world, be it online or on air. I'm happy to report that all is well in Sandton land. And as always, I'm joined by my sturdy left hand, Vincenzo. It's pretty cold, eh? It's gotten quite chilly, I must say, and the temperatures have definitely dropped. We're well into the winter months now, and I'm still on crutches. As some of you might know from listening from last week, I had a bit of a Segway accident. I've managed to kind of alleviate myself from a moon boot, but I think I'm almost out of the woods on this one. But my goodness, I mean, talk about a sprained foot or a injured soft tissue. I mean, it literally felt like it was broken. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Coming up on the show this week, the Palace of the Lost City had a refresh, and with that, a new team at the helm of this iconic property. I'm going to be catching up with the new general manager to get some perspective. Then the Palace has also appointed a new executive chef. And during my visit there, I had a chance to sit down with him, so stay listening for that. Then after that, a SANDTON Nursery has received a major international accolade for one of its flowers. Stay tuned. And finally, an international comedian with African roots joins me to chat about his upcoming show in Sandton. This and more is coming up shortly, but let's get the week going with this catchy track that is blowing up on social media.
Show some love.
subscribe, share,
Leave a review and rating for the SANDTON Times Hour
on your favorite podcast app now. The latest news,
the biggest names,
the best destinations,
the hottest entertainment. This is the SANDTON Times Hour.
This is the SANDTON Times Hour on Mix 93.8 with Jane and Makeba, the Mark Storm remix. And if you're on Instagram and TikTok, man, this song is blowing up on those platforms. And there's a bit of background to that because I did a bit of research on this. So the singer-songwriter Jane, she was born in France. She spent some time in the Congo. And the song title, Makeba, as you might have guessed, is a reference to Miriam Makeba, the South African artist and civil rights activist who was known as Mama Africa. Really catchy track. It stuck in my head, and I'm really enjoying it. So I thought let's incorporate it into the playlist for this week. It's time for the headlines for this week. Did you feel it? And I'm not referring to the cold. It was that general question that everyone had on their mind in the early hours of Sunday morning this past weekend when a 5.0 magnitude earthquake shook us all out of bed. I certainly felt it in Sandton, but I think those living in the East Rand really got the full experience. And at some point, it felt like it wasn't going to stop, which I think had a lot of people quite frightened. And I really do hope that this is a once-off experience that we don't have to go through again and doesn't become a regular phenomenon. But yeah. There we had it, an earthquake, and I'm also glad that there were no extensive reports of injuries or even casualties as a result of this seismic activity. Then the Comrades Marathon 2023, well, that also took place this past weekend. I'd be interested to hear if you competed, if you knew someone who was in the race, and if they finished. Well, those who did finish were Tete Dijana, who took the Comrades Marathon first spot for a second consecutive year with a record-breaking time of 5 hours, 13 minutes and 58 seconds. And while Gerda Steyn won the women's race in a time of 5 hours, 44 minutes and 56 seconds. Gerda also broke the down run record, and it's great to see that two South Africans have claimed that notable victory for 2023, and congratulations to them. They have a well-deserved week off, or do you take a couple of days off? I'm not quite sure. I've never run it. I don't know if I'm quite up for it. Well, especially not now, but I don't know if I'll be able to do it in the coming weeks. I think my neighbor ran it, Anton. Quite keen to hear how he did. He's done it. I think he's done it one or two times now, but I'm sure he's going to be off his feet for maybe at least a day. And finally, legendary former Bafana coach Clive Barker, well, he passed away at the age of 78. News 24 reports that he had been diagnosed with Lewy body dementia, LBD. And I think his contribution to South African soccer was immense over his career. And who can forget his celebration fieldside flyovers? May he rest in peace. Let's leave the headlines there for this week. As those who tune in every week may know, I was visiting the Palace of the Lost City a week or a bit ago to see all the changes that have been made to the property, including a new management team. I'm joined by the new general manager of the Palace of the Lost City, Nico Myburgh, right after the break.
Connect with the Santon Times. Email editor@santontimes.co.za. The best of talk and music in 1 hour. This is the Santon Times Hour.
This is the Santon Times Hour on Mix 93.8 and also available on all good podcast platforms. So, as we discussed last week, I had been in Sun City for 2 days to go see the Palace of the Lost City at Sun City, and the refurbishments that have taken place. There's a lot of new developments there. It's not just the physical rooms and the spa and the salon and the gym and all these other things that are changing at the Palace of late. It's also some of the senior management team, and I'm thrilled to be joined by the new general manager of the Palace of the Lost City, Nico Myburgh. And Nico, this isn't your first rodeo at the Palace of the Lost City.
Yes, I've actually started at the Palace in 2011, sort of middle manager's position, and then came back in 2020 as hotel manager and now general manager at the Palace.
Well, congratulations, and I think it is quite a
Thank you.
It's quite a daunting task, I would say.
I think initially, the property is quite big and can be intimidating at times. But with my length of service with Sun International and at the Palace, I sort of know what to expect and how to manage and handle the situations. So it has become my second home. I spend most of my time here, know my team. And it's become a daily routine task for me.
Well, it's such an iconic property, not just in South Africa, but I think worldwide. It's featured in so many movies. It's had, lists and lists and lists of famous people who've stayed there, from rock stars to Hollywood celebrities, politicians. You name it, they've stayed at the Palace of the Lost City. Where do you even start trying to make an impact or trying to change gears on a ship the size of the Palace of the Lost City?
As you rightfully said, it's always been an international iconic property. It's well perceived in the international and local market. We always have either through our own initiative or being contacted from the international side for special events. As you mentioned, we had movies here. For example, the last one was Blended with Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler. They stayed here with us for 6 weeks. It's important to understand who's coming through, what the expectations are. The property itself, the Palace, magnificent architecture. So in itself, people are excited to be here and to experience the hotel. And then, of course, with our South African hospitality, something unique for international travelers, which they've never experienced. So it's always nice for them to see our culture, how we do things, how we speak, how we, what food we like. So it's always something new for them and something exciting. So changing gears, we are set in our 5-star traditional ways. We know what works in the property. There's some things we won't change, but there is some things, for example, in the food that we realize that international clientele wants to come here and not necessarily have European food. They want to try South African food, understand how we do, traditional food. And we, of course, present it in a 5-star etiquette and element where people can enjoy something local, but set in a 5-star environment, and obviously the plating in a 5-star offering. So, yeah, it is a big ship to steer, but not impossible to steer.
Yeah, I mean, you've celebrated your 30th anniversary as the Palace of the Lost City last year. I can't believe it's been 30 years. I think it opened in 1992 with a major opening. I think it was 3 days, 15,000 people who attended the opening of the Palace. And here we are 30 years later. And you've now gone through a bit of a refurb with the Palace. I mean, starting off with, I think you've got a gym now. You've got the spa and the salon. And I was saying to somebody over breakfast, why did they never have a gym or a spa or a salon before? And they said, well, 30 years ago, having a gym and a spa in a hotel was not really a thing. It's only, I think, something that's only come around in the last, 10, 20 years, that if you don't have a spa or a salon or a gym at a hotel, you might as well not even open the hotel. So that's now there. It's gorgeous, and we've actually put some videos up on our Instagram page. So if you're listening and you want to go check out some of the content there, go have a look at that. You've also redone all the rooms, and this has been quite a massive task. I think it's 320 odd plus rooms plus all the suites. David Muirhead and Associates assisted you with that, and I must say you've kept a lot of the same and you've done a lot of changes.
Absolutely, Alex. So just to give you a summary, after lockdown, Sun International made the decision that we refurb the Palace rooms, but we wanted to keep the original style and look and feel. But in the refurbishment, we've, for example, the carpet is exactly the same design, however, new colors, but it's a patented design to Sun International. David Muirhead and Associates were involved. We did a complete bathroom refurbishment, from baths to basins to showers to floor tiling. New curtains. We've also now done a wallpaper in the rooms. So the rooms look magnificent. It's definitely back on par with 5-star offering. The look and feel is definitely still traditional to the Palace. We didn't want to take away from that. It's still a talking point. Again, as you said, you can look on Instagram, you'll see some images. However, when you walk into those rooms, from a size perspective to the offering in those rooms, is absolutely amazing. We've added a new refreshment center. Again, beautiful woodwork, carved woodwork with rainforest marble tops. And again, some elements like our 4-poster wooden beds and our vanity mirrors, which is all in Rhodesian Imboya, we've kept. Wooden sliding doors. A lot of the elements we did not change because there was absolutely nothing wrong with them and they're timeless. As you mentioned, addition to the rooms, it was also time for the Palace to offer a spa facility, which we then partnershiped with Camelot Spa to bring them in. They are well known in South Africa in the 5-star hotels. We've done, something unique to the Palace is our spa treatment rooms. There's couple treatment rooms. So it's not just aiming you as an individual person coming to the spa, but you can come with your partner, enjoy a treat. All these treatment rooms faces the gardens and lakes and water features. So it is set in a very tranquil environment and absolutely beautiful. Once you walk in there and you have your treatments, you just want to stay. You don't want to leave. You don't want to go back to reality. And then again, we've always had a gym on the resort, but for a Palace customer, you had to travel to Gary Player to go to the golf facilities on that side to enjoy the gym. So now we do have a gym in the Palace, also state of the art, 24 hours accessible for Palace residents. And it's just to give you that still luxury feel, that you're in the Palace, you don't have to leave. You can enjoy your food, your beverage, your spa, your gym, all in one facility. And it's just, again, making it easier for the customer.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I think there's nobody who will be staying at the Palace in the next couple of months and weeks who will have any doubt that these things are great additions. I mean, the spa, as you've said, tremendous. You'll absolutely love it if you go try that out. The gym, you're absolutely right. By the time you got to the Gary Player Country Club, you didn't even feel like walking on the treadmill anymore because you'd done all your steps.
Yeah.
So So it really is a great addition, and I think it just sort of rounds it all up. Nico, quick question before we wrap up. If we go fast forward to your last day at the Palace, whenever that might be, looking back on the fingerprint or the footprint that you've left on your general management position there, or what do you hope that's going to be? What is going to be that Nico Myburgh signature that you're going to leave on the Palace?
So, Alex, I've like I said, I've been here since 2011. It was an incredible journey up to 2017 when I left to Cape Town. The property were running at an amazingly high occupancies with a fantastic mix of international and local clientele. We had full service in all areas of the hotel, providing absolute 5 to 6 star service in every aspect that we offer. And, sadly, COVID did happen. We had to make some financial decisions in how to also stay afloat during that time and thereafter. So some elements were scaled down or reduced, which was not necessarily needed at that time. So my objective is to bring that back. I want the Palace to be, again, one of the iconic 6-star deluxe properties, not only just in South Africa or Africa, but worldwide. And, to show a customer that there's absolutely nothing wrong with what we offer in South Africa or how we do things in South Africa. Like I said, when people walk through these magnificent doors and look up at these hand-painted dome ceilings, they are in absolute awe and think, wow, how did we imagine having this property sitting in the north of South Africa, near game reserve, and think we're going to manage a 5-star property? And that's what I want to bring back, to show people we can do it. We've got amazing people working here. Like I said, we've got that true South African service etiquette and element that we bring to your stay. And even South Africans, after COVID, when they came to stay here, we were an absolute breath of fresh air for them. When they, we were sitting in lockdown for so long, and they just said, wow, you come here, the property is busy, the hotel is nice and full. And it's just, it's a true escape. It's escape for locals to say, wow, we can do things in South Africa on an international level. We can provide things on an international level. And, there's nothing to be shy of or say, we can't compete with the likes of hotels in New York or Asia or, anywhere in the world.
Fantastic, man. Well, there you have it. Nico Myburgh is the new general manager at the Palace of the Lost City, marking its 30th anniversary, and also some major refurbishments and new things for you to go see. If you've been a regular visitor to the Palace, well, there's some new things for you to enjoy and to experience. It's the bottom of the hour, and we're going to take a quick musical break, and there's more of the SANDTON Times Hour right after this.
For more?
The SANDTON Times Hour continues.
You're listening to the SANDTON Times Hour on Mix 93.8 with Deadmau5 and the Veld Cinema Binks edit. Taking you into the second half of the SANDTON Times Hour. My name is Alexander Leipner, and you know how this works. If there's anything that you listened to this week that you really enjoyed, that you wanted to get some more information on, well, you can go onto the sandtontimes.co.za, get all the details there, the breakdown of everything we've discussed on this week's edition and more. Also, be sure to check out the social media account at SANDTON Times, and feel free to engage on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whichever one suits you. And you can also use the hashtag SANDTON Times Hour. Now, my conversations around the Palace of the Lost City continue as I sat down with Durban-born executive chef Wesli Jacobs, who has taken over all things food at the Palace of the Lost City. Having stepped into this role at Sun International's flagship property, I asked Chef Wesli how he felt about this new role and if he was experiencing any anxiety.
Anxiety, no. Excitement, yes. I look forward to it. I strive under pressure. I strive under expectations. I'm quite a young executive chef, so with that comes a lot of expectation. And for me, it's always about exceeding expectations, going over and above, trying to give guests that extra feel, that extra experience as to we've never experienced this ever before in the 30 years we've been to the Palace. And that's what I always strive to do in whatever I do, whether it's creating new menus, whether it's creating new experiences for guests. It's, everything I do must be to go over and above.
Give us a perspective of the kind of ship that you have to run here when it comes to food and beverage at the Palace.
Just starting in the morning would be breakfast. Breakfast, we could do anything between 600 to 750 guests in the morning. Then overseeing our canteen, which has a staff complement of 350 that comes in and out of the kitchens. Then we have our pool kitchen that can do anything on a weekend between 250 to 350 guests. Then banqueting, our banqueting space, we can do banquets up to 250 to 300 in the palace itself. Then we got the beautiful Croc Lounge, which is our Lost City golf course, which I oversee. There we have a 75-seater restaurant, so a la carte service from breakfast, lunch. And then Taskbar is our lounge seating area, very, very relaxed vibe area if you want to catch a burger, chips. And then in-room dining, which we have 329 rooms at the palace, so having your guests order in-room dining throughout the day.
And that's 24 hours as well.
That's 24 hours, 7 days a week. It is quite a busy ship to run, but it's all about good communication, keeping the lines of communication open, making my team understand what is the vision, what is the purpose, why are we here to do what we do, and what do we want to achieve at the end of the day.
Well, you're also part of some big changes at the Palace of late. I mean, a new general manager and a new executive chef.
Yes.
I mean, I think those are probably the two big cornerstones of any hotel when it comes to coming to a hotel. It's firstly, who runs the place, and secondly, what can I eat and what can I drink?
Definitely. I mean, and it's good that we have a general manager that's been appointed that has at least 12 years experience at Sun City, so he knows the ship in and out. So having that backbone, that cornerstone in our business is key. As well as being the new executive chef, we also have a new F&B manager that's going to be starting soon. It's a good team. It's a very refined, very professional team, which helps a lot. Having the right people in the right space always makes the job easier, but it also gives the guest an overall amazing experience.
Stepping into this role, what's been the brief to you in terms of the new executive chef and the Palace of the Lost City?
Bring a 30-year-old property into 2023. That's been the brief. Let's modernize it. Let's get the food offering to where it needs to be in terms of this year, what is trending, what is happening in the food space. So it's about looking at what is those novelties, what is those catchphrases, what is people putting on Instagram, people posting, what is those TikTok videos that people are going on and on about, and trying to bring it into the food scene, in the food culture at the palace. And how can we make sure that people are posting about the palace and people are getting that excitement going, whether it's with a blogger, whether it's with a couple that are celebrating an anniversary, whether it's about family members that are coming to enjoy a long weekend away. It's about creating those experiences that get people talking and making us the 5-star establishment to be at, the must place to be.
30 years of existence is a significant milestone, and there's a lot of things in those 30 years that kept the hotel going and kept it at the level that it is at.
Yeah.
So to come in and start changing things, a lot of people start getting anxious, especially guests who go, well, there's that high tea that I love, there's that breakfast that I enjoy. Let's go through some of those offerings. I mean, you had probably one of the biggest breakfast buffets on the continent by far, and I mean, it had things on there that people still talk about to this day, from Peking duck to oysters to 24 different flavors of fruit juice, cereals, sushi bar, the whole lot. What's staying? What's changing?
I looked at our complete breakfast offering and how can, like I said, what was the brief? Bring it into 2023. So we looked at it and we said, okay, we do sushi. What makes our sushi different to any other sushi place? Let's tweak it, let's change it. Okay, why not sushi donuts, which was quite like a trip. Like, why would you take a sushi and a donut and make it one? And yet our guests love it. I mean, we do tuna, salmon, prawn, sushi donuts, and people take pictures and they were like in a maze. Then we looked at our offering, what is trending in terms of cereals? How can we make cereals more healthy and more contemporary? So we started playing around with chia seeds for breakfast, with yogurts that have protein in it. So we started playing around with protein powders for our health fanatics that wanted something healthy in the morning. Making sure obviously your fruits are seasonal, which we change on season. So looking at exotic fruits like your dragon fruit, your passion fruits, your berries, blackberries, gooseberries, having all those little niches in place that give you that 5-star luxury experience. Anyone can put a spun speck, a sweet melon, a pineapple, they can get that at their house. What takes them out of their house and puts them in a 5-star luxury experience? Then looking at our long-staying guests that are staying for 4 weeks, how do we change it up? How do we give them a completely different experience every day? So we looked at our hot dishes and said, okay, if we do scrambled eggs today, why don't we do eggs Florentine the next day? Why don't we do a different types of eggs, variations, so that you feel like you're almost having a new experience every single day with your breakfast. Yeah, so it was all about breaking the norms, coming up with new ideas, new trending ideas that's happening. And I think it helps having a young chef like myself that's always constantly on the lookout for new inventive ways of food experiences.
The other big attraction, I'm sure, at the Palace, and you might agree, is the high tea. That's something that people always like to book. Is that still around? Is that still changing? Is that remaining the same?
So high tea, what we did was initially when I got here, the high tea experience was no longer because of COVID. So we reignited that, we restarted that. And we thought about high tea. Most establishments will have a high tea and they'll do a buffet table and guests help themselves. We wanted to change that. We wanted to serve high tea. So have your savory course served to you, explain to you why we've paired the teas with the savory dishes into it. Why do we have the scones that are served separately to your normal buffet style? But then your last course being your desserts that has that abundance buffet style where you can go help yourself to as many desserts as you feel. And then introducing that local cheese board at the end just to finish off your high tea experience after a lot of sweets, a lot of savory, and just to end it off on a nice note. Also keeping in locality into it, local ingredients where we source in and around Rustenburg, in and around the Northwest, just to showcase what we're all about here. We thought about it a lot and thought about how can we have that amazing experience. Our high tea, we've just during the quiet period, we've put it on hold for now, but we're going to be opening up the spring high tea in September, just to come up with a new experience now where we want to showcase theatrical elements to high tea. So you're going to have to stay tuned for that one.
Well, it certainly sounds like I need to be back for that, because that sounds like a real treat and something to really experience. The other big change in terms of dining is the grill room, which has been a very popular place. Steakhouse, sort of traditional, but you've said that there's some changes to that.
Yeah, we wanted to tweak up the menu in the grill room. We wanted to put more African ingredients, your kudu, your springbok, your impala, your ostrich, things that are local towards the region of the Northwest, which we've added in a lot of those dishes, but also brought in the theatrical elements, making sure that if there's a beautiful tartar that's served on a bone, we smoke the tartar, have a cloche underneath, so when it comes to your table, you smell the aromas of the wood that it's been smoked in the tartar. Making sure we've added in elements of dry ice, so when you get your ceviche, you get that smokiness coming to your table, and you think, what's going on here? So I've looked at elements of surprises throughout the dishes, just to keep the mind, the senses, anticipating what's next, what's coming next. So bringing it in, like I said, back into 2023 and what's trending at the moment.
That was 33-year-old chef Wesli Jacobs, the new executive chef at the Palace of the Lost City, giving us a bit of insight into his vision and plans and what you can expect next time you sit down for a bite to eat at the Palace. If you want to see some of the video I took of the Palace's new spa, gym, salon, the new rooms that have been refurbished, and all things the Palace, well, I've popped those up on Instagram, so you can go visit at SANDTON Times on Instagram and go check out those videos and get a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look.
From Greater Santon to the rest of the world, this is the SANDTON Times Hour.
And in the words of Monty Python, and now for something completely different. Well, we've got some championship people in Santon, let me tell you, and one of those is Andy de Wet. He's the owner of CND Nursery based in Santon. And he's just come home from the Royal Horticultural Society Chelsea Flower Show, which is hosted on the grounds of the Royal Hospital Chelsea in Chelsea, London, since 1912. It's considered the World Cup of flowering plants. If you're not into plants, if you're not into gardening, you might not know about it, but it's one of those major events that even if it isn't in your spectrum of entertainment or of interest, the Chelsea Flower Show always comes up. It makes massive headlines around the world. And how exciting that we actually have a South African and a Santon winner from the Chelsea Flower Show. Andy de Wet, he won with the Agapanthus Black Jack, which won the Flower of the Year at the Chelsea Flower Show. And on the line is Andy. And Andy, let's kick it off with congratulations to you. You must be absolutely thrilled.
Thank you for the time on the radio. We are absolutely thrilled. Alexander, I felt that it would be great to win. It would be nice, but gee whiskers, I'm overwhelmed with everything that's happening around us. Everybody is going crazy, and it's actually it's so nice to see how South Africans all embrace winning.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the one thing we've got to hang on to. If nothing else, we always love a win, be it in sport, be it in the arts, or be it in this particular instance in the gardening space. Now, Andy, help us through this. How do you even start entering the Chelsea Flower Show? I mean, take us through the process. How do you find the right flower? How do you get there? How's the judging done?
Well, look, getting the right plant is a long, long road. I started breeding Agapanthus. I dabbled a bit with them about 35 years ago, and about 19 years ago, Quentin and my partner and he joined me, started working for me, and we decided let's focus on Agapanthus, and we've had a very intense breeding program for the last almost 19 years now to try and create new varieties or new colors and improved plant for your garden, basically. And we came up with Black Jack.
And then do what? You just write to the Chelsea Flower Show and say, "Hi, I'm from SANDTON. I'd like to enter my flower."
No, not quite like that. We are known around the world for our superior varieties of Agapanthus that we've been breeding. I always like to say it's like the music industry. We have an agent who represents us with all the big wholesale growers worldwide. They've got our plant a long time ago already. Since we've created it, it's about 7 years before we could reach the market. And once the wholesalers there have got it, then we can put a plant up there. And that was quite complicated too, because we have entered Chelsea before and we won a third place a few years back. But the reason why is because we got the timing wrong. So it's quite complicated to actually even get the flowers to be at their best.
Sure.
On the day, so yeah.
I mean, for those people listening who are not quite sure exactly what this flower looks like, and we're going to put up a picture up on the SANDTON Times website, so if you're quite curious to see, but for the sake of the interview, I mean, it's sort of a purple blossom on in a ball. It almost looks like it's standing on a lollipop.
Alexander, you told me you're not a plant man, so let me explain it rather.
Right. Andy, you do it.
Okay. Look, it's a traditional Agapanthus in all aspects, except the plant is very neat, very healthy. It grows very well and fast in your garden. It's selected for that. And the flower spikes are not too tall. They're up to about almost 1 meter in height. They make very big, full balls of flower at the top. We call them umbels. The buds are almost pitch black. And when they open, they face you, and they've got this deep velvet purple open flowers that face you. So it really is like a game changer. It's an amazing plant.
Andy, that's why you went to the Chelsea Flower Show and I didn't.
Yes.
Andy, so tell me now the judging, is it purely based on the visual impact, or is there more to it? I mean, do they sort of take samples? Do they do DNA analysis? Do they, I don't know, take the whole thing apart?
Nothing scientifically, but we did a presentation there to tell the audience all about the judges all about the good and the bad about the plant. And one of the things that they really liked is the fact that it is a water-wise plant. Europe is having lots of problems with water, and I suppose all around the world. And Agapanthus are really tough plants when it comes to their water requirements. They can go through very dry seasons and still flourish. Agapanthus are known to flower only once at the end of October, beginning November every year. This one flowers for about 3 months, which is all things that game changers. The color, the way it flowers, the fact that it flowers a lot more and it's a healthy plant water-wise, all those things add together. It's always a lot of different factors that make a plant the best one.
Amazing. And then do you sort of get a note from, I know that the royals were there, do you get a note from King Charles or from Queen Camilla? Do they sort of send you a voice note and say, Andy, we're delighted at your victory, or we have congratulations on behalf of the crown, or something like that? No?
I wish, but no, there was nothing like that.
All right.
But we got accolades from the industry, which is really good, you know.
And now, is this particular flower now available at your nursery? I mean, can people now buy it? Is it now readily available?
Alexander, if I just knew that we were going to win, what happened was all over Europe and the UK, where the nurseries had it, and in South Africa, we are sold out now. I've got stock coming again, but there are some nurseries that still have a few stock in Pretoria and in the Cape, but it's running out very fast.
Goodness. And Agapanthus, I mean, is it an expensive flower at the best of times? I mean, not necessarily the award-winning one, but I know you also get it in different colors as well.
No, look, we have a huge range of what we've bred over the years, but and we try and be the masters of Agapanthus. So we have plants that are as cheap as about 20 Rand and going up to the Chelsea winner is now about almost 300 Rand. But that price will come down. The research and development is very expensive, you know.
Absolutely, like with everything. That's unbelievable. Andy de Wet, he's the owner of CND Nursery there in Sandton. If you want to go, I don't know, you can try and wrestle yourself through the masses if you want to try and get hold of an Agapanthus there, or if you just want to get any other plants or flowers, go check out Andy's nursery, CND Nursery. And Andy, it's been a pleasure having you on the SANDTON Times Hour.
Oh, thank you for having me, and thank you for the listeners too.
Well, there you have it. We're going to take a quick musical break, and we'll be right back after this.
From Greater Sandton to the rest of the world, this is the SANDTON Times Hour.
This is the SANDTON Times Hour on Mix 93.8 and also available on all good podcast platforms. And that was Mr. Belt and Wesli Plastic Funk featuring Tim Morrison with a Groove Tonight remix. I think that is more than a mouthful and enough for the week ahead. As we almost wrap up for this hour, I'm thrilled to be joined by Daliso Chaponda. He is a well-known comedian. Well, now he's a well-known comedian. He is from the continent, as we would say. And if you don't know who he is, he actually performed on Britain's Got Talent a couple of years ago. Let's take a quick listen.
Well, I'm at that age now. All my friends are getting married, and married people forget how horrible it is being single. They love to call me and complain about their coupley problems. Always get, you're so lucky being single. I get home, my wife just starts nagging, nag. I'm like, hey, I have to nag myself. I get home, I'm like, what time do I call this? Why don't I ever do the dishes? Sometimes I think I don't appreciate myself. I haven't always been a comedian. I did some weird jobs. I used to clean houses, and I'll admit I was tempted to steal. I didn't steal because the Bible says, thou shalt not steal, but nowhere does it say, thou shalt not swap. I took a stereo, left a Walkman. Took a plasma screen, left an Etch-a-Sketch.
And that was Daliso Chaponda on Britain's Got Talent. And he joins me on the line right now, all the way from Qatar. Daliso, it's great to have you on the SANDTON Times Hour.
Oh, it's great to be here.
What has your comedy career been like to date?
So I've now been a comedian for half of my life. I've been a comedian for around 20 years. I started in Canada. I had stints where I worked in South Africa. I worked in Kenya. I worked all over the place. But of course, my real turning point was when I did Britain's Got Talent in 2017. And that it was sort of like a promotion because I'd always been doing small rooms, pubs. I had a different career. And then it just promoted me to doing television, radio, doing massive shows. And it's been great.
Well, I mean, you've got 1 foot in Zambia, 1 foot in Malawi. I mean, those are sort of your roots. And I think during your one of the interviews or during your Britain Got Talent discussions, you mentioned that you had performed in South Africa, and yet it's weird how you don't get that recognition until you've performed on a global stage, and suddenly I'm sure people are knocking down your door.
It is unfortunate, but that is the way of the continent. Like, I'd been funny for years. Do you know what I mean? I've been performing in South Africa, and Namibia, and Kenya, and Malawi. I've done lots of shows. But it's as soon as I did Britain's Got Talent, people are like, "You're so funny. Why did you never do shows here?" And I'm like, "I used to do shows right next to you, and you did not buy tickets. But now that I've been validated by another country, you're suddenly my fan." And I understand the way it works, but we have to be famous elsewhere than we are embraced by our own.
I think the old adage goes, you can't be a prophet in your own land. So I suppose that's just the way of the world.
Right.
So, Daliso, you're coming to SANTON now. What is your show going to be about? Is there any particular topic, any particular theme that you're following?
Yes. So this is a show which I started writing during pandemic, in lockdown, when I was frustrated and depressed that there might never be comedy again. And it's I toured it called Apocalypse Not Now. It's a celebration of getting through it, but also just how we cope with hard times. The world right now has economic recession, all kinds of things stressing us. And this is when we need to laugh. So it's laughter about all the things we need to laugh about. I mean, like, I'm even joking about how right now they were telling South Africa that they should arrest Putin, right?
Yes.
And I was confused how they would expect South Africa to arrest Putin when it took you at least 10 years to arrest Zuma. So there's no chance you're going to be getting Putin.
Well, I think it's quite interesting because you bring an African angle to these things, but you also understand the situation in South Africa, but yet you are removed enough to actually have an outside perspective, something that somebody in Canada, Europe, Australia, the United States cannot do.
Well, actually, I have a radio show on BBC Radio 4, and it's called Citizen of Nowhere, because part of growing up as a refugee when my family was in exile and then traveling a lot as a comedian is I'm not really anything, right? Which means that for every culture I visit, I notice the very unique things. Like, South Africa is the only place I've ever visited where there's an actual strike season, right?
Yes.
And South Africa is the only place where the sat-nav Waze things warn you about upcoming potholes. So I recognize all the things that are unique to every culture that I'm in. And similarly, while I'm performing in Qatar, I can comment on things that only Qataris would take for granted, but the rest of the world will find funny.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, listen, let's give people a quick rundown of where they can see you and all the details. So 17th and 18th of June, you're going to be at the Artistry in SANTON. That's on Fredman Drive. That's actually Jay Something's new eatery and entertainment spot in Black Brick Phase 2, or Black Brick 2 as it's known. And it starts at 200 Rand a ticket. So if people want to do that, it's coming through Goliath and Goliath. They can get their tickets on thisisartistry.co.za. So if you want to watch Daliso Chaponda for those 2 nights, well, you better go see him, because I'm sure he'll be moving along again to some other part of the world. And Daliso, any message you've got for anyone who wants to attend your comedy show?
They should come watch it. This is my first one-man show in South Africa. When I've performed in South Africa before, it's been things like Blacks Only or Kings and Queens of Comedy. But that's me just doing 15 minutes. This is you getting to see me do 90 minutes, my full show. I've been touring it all around the world. Come see it. It's going to be memorable.
Fantastic. We'll put all the details up on the SANTONTimes.co.za. And Daliso Chaponda, I thank you for making time, for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
And with that, it's another SANTON Times Hour done and dusted on Mix 93.8 and also available on all good podcast platforms. If you want to get in touch, you can email editor@santontimes.co.za or connect on the social media accounts at SANTON Times, or visit the website www.santontimes.co.za. And I encourage you to bookmark the webpage, so check in on a daily basis. It's updated every day. And also make sure you subscribe to the mailer, so you get the weekly mailer with all additional content there as well. Feel free to send through your comments, your questions, your thoughts, your feedback on any of those channels. It's always good to hear from you and to get your input. And thank you to all my guests who made the time to be on the show this week, as well as Vincenzo. Thank you once again for making sure that we do what we do every week seamlessly. And then also thank you to the SANTON Times team, as well as everyone at Mix 93.8. And thank you to you for listening every single week. And let's connect again next week.
That's it for this week. Thanks for listening to the SANTON Times Hour. And if you enjoyed it, be sure to share it.